All right, we're going to start our broadcast with the former Obama speechwriter, Sarah Hurwitz. Former Obama speechwriter Sarah Hurwitz laments to Jewish Federation that people are finding content from Al Jazeera and Nick Fuentes on social media and seeing the videos of the carnage in Gaza. And she basically says something that I've been saying for the longest time. This is something that I've brought up quite a bit, but the difference is, for her, it's basically saying the quiet part out loud because, like, you know what my perspective on Israel-Palestine is. You know what my perspective on Gaza is. Let's take a look.
Since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel. And I think that is especially true of young people. So we are now wrestling with a new, I think, generational divide here. And I think that's particularly true in that social media is now our source of media. And this, it used to be that the media you got in America was American media, and it was pretty mainstream. It generally didn't express extreme anti-Israel views. You had to go to a pretty weird bookstore to find global media and fringe media. But today, we have social media, which is a global medium, right? Its algorithms are shaped by billions of people worldwide who don't really love Jews. And so while in the 1990s, a young person probably wasn't going to find Al Jazeera or someone like Nick Fuentes. Today, those media outlets find them. They find them on their phones. It's also this increasingly post-literate media.
Just wait, okay? Just wait. First of all, aside from the fact that she said it's like weird bookstores or whatever, like what she's saying is not wrong, right? What she's saying is not wrong as far as like the energy that she's putting to it is obviously negative. But what she's saying is correct. The pro-Israel narrative was dominant in mainstream discourse. However, nowadays, with the democratization of the media, with the invention of social media and information that you can find easily online, especially with the algorithm, yes, no, I don't think Al Jazeera hates Jews, chatters. Of course not. But the point is, what she's saying is true as far as how much the outlets, how many new outlets there exists, right? And how much that has factored into discourse shifting on Israel. That part is correct. She's basically saying the correct thing, but has the exact opposite opinion that I do, with one exception. Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic. Okay? She thinks foreign news is inherently expressing extreme views against Israel. Lamau just admitted the U.S. media runs cover for everything they do. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. But as far as her saying, like, nowadays people are getting information, extreme information. Like when she says extreme information about Israel, she's wrong. It's not extreme information. It's just true. Okay? It's just the correct information on Israel. She's obviously upset about it. But hold on. Let's continue. Yeah, Al Jazeera equals Fuentes is the crazy one. One is a Nazi, the other one's a respected international news outlet. Exactly. But from where she's standing, there is no difference between Al Jazeera and Nick Fuentes. And I assume there would not be a lot of difference between Al Jazeera and Nick Fuentes and someone like myself either.
Less and less text, more and more videos. So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. And this is why so many of us can't have a sane conversation with younger Jews, because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage. So I want to give data.
Yeah. We're trying to have data-backed conversations. We're trying to have honest conversations with younger Jews, but we can't because all they see is the real carnage that Israel is doing in Gaza. It's like, no, you're just upset that you can't fucking brainwash young Jews anymore because they know the truth about Israel. They see the reality that Israel is committing the carnage. I'm sorry. But the wall of carnage, which is the reality of what Israel is doing, is exactly the reason why people are no longer fucking with Israel, because there's no way to control the flow of information and contextualize that violence, or at least shelter the population from said violence. And that's precisely the reason why, yes, people are not believing bullshit coming out of Israel any longer. But wait, there's more.
data and information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage, and I sound obscene. And, you know...
By the way, it's because you are obscene. You are literally trying to do genocide defense. Okay? It's so funny. She's like, I come across as obscene when I try to defend my favorite fascist ethno state that's currently committing a genocide. It's really fucked up.
Well, I think, unfortunately, the very smart, bet that we made on Holocaust education to serve as anti-Semitism education, in this new media environment, I think that is beginning to break down a little bit.
This is why I said this is like literally what I talk about a lot. She just has the opposite opinion of me on this issue.
Because, Holocaust education is absolutely essential, but I think it may be confusing some of our young people about anti-Semitism because they learn about big, strong Nazis hurting weak, emaciated Jews. And they think, oh, anti-Semitism is like anti-black racism, right? Powerful white people against powerless black people. So when on TikTok all day long they see powerful Israelis hurting weak, skinny Palestinians, it's not surprising that they think, oh, I know, the lesson of the Holocaust is you fight Israel. You fight the big, powerful people hurting the weak people.
Bro, that's bar for bar what I have talked about. Except I think it's good to do Holocaust education and also learn those lessons. She thinks it's bad. That's the difference between never again means never again for everyone versus never again means never again just for Jews. Okay? If your attitude is never again means never again just for Jews, what the fuck did you think? Like, no, the Holocaust happened. It was a uniquely evil incident, and it must never happen again, which is why we have to be as violent as we want to be in Israel. And you can't say a damn thing about it. That's the education, or that's the understanding that she has over this. Whereas, as I have explained over and over again, never again means never again for everybody. And of course, like the entire point of the Holocaust and Holocaust education is so that we learn from the evils of the Holocaust, the evils of the Nazi regime. Even the mention of like the weak, emaciated Jew is like, I think, a not so subtle reference to the anti-Semitism that you often hear from Zionists. The anger and resentment that some Zionists feel towards victims of the Holocaust as like weak Jews. The notion that like Zionism means you are a strong Jew, a powerful Jew, a violent one that does not find violence to be repugnant. Of course, I, jokingly referenced this. I said, Holocaust education is too successful. It made the kids anti-Holocaust. Well, Israel is trying to do one because that's basically the fucking perspective here. And what's crazier about this is that like this position is Kahanis. It's like an ultra Zionist position. It's not supposed to be a normal position. All right, we're gonna move on from this fucking take, okay? Because there's a lot more to cover here. I just wanted to get started on this one because I thought it was a really interesting moment of honesty. But
the bill to release.
Let's get to the House and the Senate. House has voted to overwhelmingly pass the release of the Epstein files, but there's obviously going to be a couple different catches here. But the House and the Senate have unanimously voted. Let's take a look at the House first, and then we'll look at...
Epstein files could be on President
You know what?
Trump's
Actually,
desk.
let's do it.
Back with some breaking news in our politics lead, a major update on that Senate vote to release the Epstein files. Let's get right to CNN's Manu Raju on Capitol Hill. Manu, we didn't even know if the Senate was going to take up the Epstein files bill. What is playing out right now?
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago, it seemed like this bill was dead on arrival. Just a few days ago, it seemed like it was dead on arrival in the United States Senate. But now it is on its way to the president's desk in a remarkable turnaround in an extremely fast move here. The Senate has essentially green-lighted this bill to be approved as soon as tonight and be sent to the president's desk. Now, essentially what happened was that in the aftermath of this House vote this afternoon, 427 to 1, just one member of the entire United States House voting against it. This is now on its way to the Senate. Now, there has not been a formal process. It has to be formally sent over to the United States Senate. That process was to take some time to get through the official writing of getting the bill over across the Capitol. It's an arcane process. But once it gets over to the United States Senate, that's when the bill can be read in the Senate and essentially passed. So what we just saw moments ago was Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader. He went to the floor of the United States Senate and he said, he asked for what's known in the Senate as unanimous consent. That means that all 100 senators have to agree, or one senator could object and slow things down. He asked unanimous consent that for when the Senate receives the final paperwork of the bill that just passed the United States House, that it would be approved by the United States Senate. Nobody objected to that, Jake. So what that means is that as soon as it is formally transmitted, this bill is formally transmitted from the House to the Senate will essentially have it approved. It will be approved in their chamber. There does not need to be a roll call vote. And then it will go to the president's desk for his signature, in which the president has indicated that he will sign, despite fighting this for months, despite the efforts by the Republican leaders, particularly in the House, to try to deny its vote. Ultimately, the president capitulated, said that he believed that the House Republicans should vote for it because dozens were already planning to buck him. And the Speaker of the House, who did not want this bill to come to the floor, ultimately voted yes.
The greater ability to redact names and information, which I hear is an amendment that some Republicans want to do. And I think that will just invite monkey business, and we can't have that. I think they should just take up the bill as it is, get it signed.
Yeah, do you guys understand? The fine print, baby, the fine print. The Epstein Files legislation clearly says, quote, the Attorney General may withhold or redact any material that would jeopardize an active investigation into national security. Remember when I told you this? I told you this a couple days ago or as soon as Donald Trump said, oh yeah, we should release the Epstein Files. Right after he said the DOJ should launch an active investigation into the Epstein Files, specifically as it pertains to the Democrats that are involved with the Epstein saga. I told you that he was going to use the active investigation in the same way that he did his tax releases, his tax return release, that he would not allow any information to come out on the grounds of national security. So it'll just be a heavily redacted document that will most likely protect a lot of the powerful Democratic allies as well. Probably a little bit of red meat for the base, though. You have to give them a little bit of red meat. But maybe not even maybe not even Bill Clinton, honestly.
Pass and sign into law and then release the files.
Do you, at this point, have reason to believe that there is more information in these files that DOJ has or in additional files from the Epstein estate about President Trump?
I think so. Basically, some of the files that we have right now have emails, which you are well aware of, that make reference to certain aspects of Donald Trump and his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but we don't necessarily understand the context. And so we're left wondering, okay, well, what else is in the files that could explain that? But if I could just step back for a second, I think the real reason why this passed with such a huge vote.
Isn't there still the mutual pedophile destruction thing in play? Yeah, that's why I'm saying he's probably not going to go after any high-level enough people. But he does have this need to offer red meat to the base, who is demanding information, demanding transparency. So even if he gives up names of high-profile Democrats, they won't be super high-profile Democrats. You know what I mean? At most, it'll be someone who it'll be someone who can basically fall on the sword. Something to offer a little bit of red meat to the base, but someone that isn't as connected and as high up. Someone isn't as connected and as high up as like a Bill Clinton. Someone who isn't a load-bearing figure of American politics, such as Bill Clinton or other people like that. But who knows? Maybe Trump is willing to play that dangerous game.
The Democrats had every one of the Epstein files in their possession for the 4 long years of the Biden administration.
Busy teacher here. I haven't been following this super close. Is there a reason why these documents are being released by the estate in chunks instead of all at once? I'm actually not. I don't fully comprehend why the estate is releasing some of these documents in chunks. Maybe because they want to fucking attack Trump or cause a stir. I think the estate's position is that Donald Trump killed Jeffrey Epstein. Or not Donald Trump, but like the government killed Jeffrey Epstein, and that Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide. So I suspect that plays a role in it. So they realize that like if they release more of this stuff, there's more controversy surrounding it. And the more controversy that surrounds it, the more people are, oh shit. The more people are invested in it. Ooh, it's piping hot. Jasmine tea. Piping hot jasmine tea. Yeah, keeping it in the news, basically. Like that's a reason, I think. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed the real estate. Yeah. Or not the real estate, the Jeffrey Epstein estate, yes. AOC on Chuy Garcia. This is how I feel about it. I loathe machine politics and got to office defeating an incumbent who got in that way. However, there are quite a few problems with choosing to grind the entire House to a halt to force all 435 members across the country to do a rushed vote on this one individual instance, of many, mind you. 1, why is it that this objection wasn't brought up until now? The author had no problem when Bill Posey did it, or even earlier this year when a member's account was tweeting post-mortem for an election. The standard of this resolution is unevenly applied, and choosing to enforce it via privileged resolution for some, but not others, does open legitimate questions of rationale or motivation. Why not care about this from them, but care about it now? The question has not been answered. This is why the Ethics Committee exists. Establishing this process of precedent will mean all 435 members of the House will be forced to vote on a slew of individual member indiscretions determined by political convenience of whoever is in the majority. I do not think it's the best use of my constituents' time to sort through the details of every individual matter of a person acting out in accordance with the esteem of the office once a week. For a floor vote under rush circumstances, the House has an investigatory structure for this reason. If there was a complaint filled with ethics or an investigation buried and then ignored, I'd understand, but that's not the case here. These specific kinds of resolutions can only be executed on a partisan basis because the mechanism of seeking privilege on this can only move forward with GOP leadership's blessing. That means partisan enforcement, and I do not want to open the door to that. Make it nonpartisan or don't bother. That's why the Ethics Committee is structured the way it is. Number 4, this resolution was dropped on a fly-out day to begin with. Sorry. This resolution was dropped on a fly-out day to begin voting on a fly-in day, giving people no time to review the details on the matter while they are home in district on a weekend. On a matter of local politics that nobody had familiarity with, people are genuinely not familiar with the details of the surprise vote because this is the kind of thing brought to ethics precisely to investigate and confirm details. Yes, given Garcia's health and family circumstances, his last-minute decision to retire is totally understandable, but the moment he told his chief of staff should have been the moment he told everyone else. If she had enough advance notice to gather a few thousand signatures, another candidate could have done the same. It's bullshit to pretend that's not true, and bullshit to criticize MGP for pointing that out. The Jake Tappers of the world are saying that Chuy Garcia's office is circulating talking points about his controversial decision to suddenly retire as he faces a possible formal House rebuke led by a fellow Democrat. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Chuy Garcia waited until the primary date passed and named his chief of staff as the successor to his seat. What you need to understand is, I mean, this will be used against the Democratic Socialist wing of the party. There are a lot of old, calcified, institutional Democrats that are aching to retire or possibly on the verge of death. And that is part of the reason why I could totally see a bunch of establishment slots getting replaced by other younger establishment candidates within the staff of said older establishment Democrats in this exact same undemocratic way to try and stop a real democratic process from taking place in a primary structure. Yeah, retire from living. Exactly. All right, let's get back to the
The
Epstein
Biden
stuff now.
Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years.
Is that accurate?
Well, it's not only inaccurate, it's ridiculous. I mean, the case was an open criminal investigation during the Biden administration. They were pursuing charges against Ghislaine Maxwell, as we know. They obtained a conviction, and after that, she appealed. You cannot open up your criminal case files when a case is still open. And by being under appeal, the case still remained open. Also, by the way, we really don't know to what extent they were still trying to hold other people accountable in this case. They obtained a lot more information in the past couple of years from new victims who have come forward, and they may very well have still been investigating other possible charges against other possible people who were involved. It always kind of surprised me that one of the things the Trump administration never said when they came into office, or never mentioned whether the case was still an open investigation or a closed one.
Do you think the Epstein files are going to be even more redacted than what we've gotten already? Getting the files at all is a win, but level of interference, yes, there is no world where we see the fucking full files, okay? Chad is attacking Julie Brown over her voice. They need to chill and understand her significance of the story. Julie Brown is the reason why Jeffrey Epstein went back to prison, okay? She is an incredibly important investigative reporter, and her work at the Miami Herald is the reason why the Jeffrey Epstein saga reopened. Okay? Put some respect on it.
Or the Justice Department to investigate Epstein's ties with high-profile figures who are Democrats?
I'm not only concerned because of that, of course. Now they're going to use it's an open investigation card to probably hold back material. But I'm also, quite frankly, concerned about the way this case has been handled from the very beginning with all these FBI agents. The New York Times reported that they were combing through these files. We had the leak of a member of the Justice Department say on camera that they were purposely redacting the names of key Republican figures from these files. So there's going to be a lot of questions about how solid these files are when they are released. I felt that part of the Speaker's remarks today was an effort to sort of remind people that there's going to be things in here that they're not going to release. So he was sort of setting the stage, I think, for heavy redactions where we're going to see pages and pages of things that have 5 words on them and the rest of the page is going to be redacted. That's the way the FBI files right now look. And there's no reason for them to do those kinds of heavy redactions.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Piggy clip, if you need it.
If there's nothing incriminating in the files, sir, why not acting as what did Jeffrey...
I don't know why he said quiet piggy. Is her name like Peggy or something? Like, what is that? Did he just have like a crazy moment? Because I feel like he has terms that he uses, right? He has terms that he uses regularly. Like he'll say like someone died like a dog. This is like a dog, blah, blah, blah. All this shit. But like, I've never heard him refer to a person as piggy. Like, and I don't know if it's because like he was, fat shaming her or something. Like he was just calling her fat. It's just new is what I'm saying. It's a new Trumpism. Miss Piggy is on Air Force One. He's a misogynist. He hates women, and he was making a fat joke, even though he's fat. I mean, he said Rosie O'Donnell is a fat pig, and everything you said is correct. But I don't know. I haven't heard him say piggy ever. Like, call someone a piggy ever.
Did he read his emails that you said you
That's such a crazy, like, quiet piggy is so wild. Not a very presidential moment from him. Then again, he is never really presidential, if we're being honest. Majority Report talked about it today, and he calls her piggy. It's breaking seam and showing his frustration. Yeah, I feel like he's just using new metas here. He's getting like more disrespectful than before, and it could be because his mental faculties are deteriorating. You do get more aggressive as your dementia worsens. Maybe that's part of it. Oh, and the White House is defending it. The White House is standing by Trump. Trump's calling a reporter piggy. A White House official tells MS Now News the reporter behaved in an inappropriate and unprofessional way towards her colleagues on the plane. If you're going to give it, you have to be able to take. That's wild. Epstein survivor. We're hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It's not about you, President Trump. Show some class. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue is a national embarrassment.
It is also
Dude, it's crazy there's so many. Have you met incels? That's true. Incels are incels, though. They don't even, I feel like they're off the sexuality spectrum at this point because of their hyper misogyny. Like, there's degrees to it.
not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First,
it's crazy that fucking, like, I can't get over the Miss Piggy thing. Oh my God. It's crazy that he blew up on her because she was doing her fucking job. As a reporter on Air Force One, as a part of the fucking press pool, her job is to literally ask questions to the fucking president. I cannot get over it. And then the White House defended it like, she was being mean. It's like, she was being mean. She was doing her fucking job. What do you mean she was being mean? Yeah, this is the person who he called a piggy. I just don't understand it. Like, you can't do a, you can't do a, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen thing when defending the most thin-skinned president of all time. It's like, okay, right back at you, buddy. If you can't be the president, then stop being the fucking president. Like, what are you talking about? Conduct yourself a little bit better. Asshole. Other reporters are saying she's just good at her job. Yeah, I've looked up Catherine Lucy since I was a Cub reporter and she was a queen of the Philadelphia City Hall press corps. She always has been fearless, fair, and great at asking questions.
the administration said it would release everything and then applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class, show some real leadership. Show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to
But it is about Trump, just not in the way she wants. I mean, these are victims at the end of the day. I mean, they voted for him. Yes, they did. A lot of Jeffrey Epstein victims voted for Donald Trump. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me what the fuck's going on there. I don't understand it. It is what it is, okay? It doesn't take away from their victimhood in this situation. A lot of victims voted for Donald Trump. I mean, remember, Jeffrey Epstein operated in Florida. Jeffrey Epstein operated in Florida, in the state of Florida. These are Floridians, okay? Do with that information what you will, but they are Floridians. Because he promised them justice? Nah, I don't think that's the reason. No, I think it's because they're Floridians. I mean, there's still people, and people have the capacity to make stupid decisions, especially with their votes. I think it's just because they're Floridian. Motherfucker literally campaigned on releasing the files. The fuck are we talking about? Sure, that could definitely be a consideration.
Understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing but was too much of a coward to do anything about it.
Anyway, here's another fucking Trump insanity moment. Donald Trump gets asked about Jeffrey Epstein while he is hanging out with another Jeffrey Epstein affiliate, Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, this makes the back and forth even more interesting. I don't care if MSM says he campaigned on it, but I think in this community we need to be accurate and say he did not himself campaign on it. The closest example is the Fox interview that was edited on JD on a podcast. Yes. He was definitely a lot more restrained about releasing the Epstein files than some of his other counterparts that were campaigning alongside him. Let's be real on that. He definitely was not making that the centerpiece of his campaign. He even was a little bit he was a little bit restrained on that front, where he would say stuff like, well, you know, the Kennedy files, sure, 9/11, sure, but Jeffrey Epstein, not so much. A lot of innocents are, if you remember, he famously said, a lot of innocents could also go down in the Jeffrey Epstein situation. And of course, what he meant when he said that was himself, which we know now. When he said a lot of innocents or a lot of other people could be tangled with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, he actually was fucking talking about himself, dude. He just wants to protect his Bubba. Come on. True.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's the question that he minds. Okay? I think it's the question that he minds outside of the attitude. I think the question he definitely minds. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, nope, you mind the question. You don't like the attitude, but you mind the question for sure, especially in front of MBS. I mean, these are two buddies of Jeffrey Jedediah Epstein, okay? Remember, will we ever get LA streams again? No. All streams going forward are going to be from the glorious People's Republic of China.
It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych. You're a terrible person.
Look at the face of this reporter. Look.
Psych.
Look.
You're a terrible person.
You're like, awkward.
And a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton.
Dude. That's Bubba, bro. Chill. He's mad because this journal also questioned MBS being in the White House right before this. Reporter, Your Royal Highness, U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you're here in the Oval Office. Who are you with? I'm with ABC News. Fake news. As far as the gentleman's concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. 9/11, he did it, and it was good. His family did it. Maybe not him. He was young. He was younger back then. Couldn't have been a mastermind unless... He is brilliant. He is brilliant, very brilliant young mind. Maybe he conducted 9/11 as well. Nobody knows, but if he did it, it was the best 9/11 anyone has ever done.
Murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time.
Yeah, you know what else is tremendous business? 9/11 made the Trump Tower the tallest tower on Wall Street after 9/11. That's right. I want to shake your hand. Mr. Crown Prince, want to shake your hand. That wasn't even the question. What fucking question is he answering here? Yeah, I don't think you were involved in 9/11, man. Even though you did immediately do a radio show on the morning of 9/11. And he did unironically say on the morning of 9/11 chatters, while the dust had not even been settled yet, well, now, you know, silver lining. Now the tallest tower in Wall Street is now the tallest tower in Wall Street is now the Trump Tower. Believe it. That's right. He did do that. He did say that. Love how you're the most controversial 9/11 guy over this shit. Lamau, we're so cooked. Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy, especially with how shameless it was, because like you could see the fucking like live footage of the smoldering building in the background.
Successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion.
Oh, she asked about Saudi's business dealings with Trump. Okay.
That I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it.
Brother, that is fucking nutty. It's so over. It's so over. Yeah, Trump, fuck the 9/11 families, lol. We don't care about you, lol. MBS, here is $1 trillion. He said, fuck the 9/11 families. We don't care about you, lol. Also, fuck Jamal Khashoggi. He was very controversial. Okay, very controversial. He died like a dog. But this gentleman right next to me didn't have anything to do with it, even though all evidence points to him actually directing the assassination. And maybe even the methods of dealing with the body. Who knows? But if he was dealing with the body, he dealt with it so perfectly. Has the best methods of dealing with the body. Believe it, folks.
And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's just you ask, Mr. President, allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, you know, families of 9/11 in America, but you know.
Would you like a tea? Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the Crown Prince fund the Bin Laden family? The Saudi royal family did fund the Bin Laden family, and certainly did fund Osama bin Laden directly, leading up to 9/11, as a matter of fact, which is part of the reason why all of these people are very frustrated about, you know, the Crown Prince visiting the fucking White House, the 9/11 family specifically. Now, of course, as I am no stranger to the 9/11 discourse, this is something that I talk about quite a bit. 9/11 is simply weaponized against the likes of people like myself, people like Zoran, while simultaneously the people that are actually responsible for 9/11, the victims are always cast aside. Nobody gives a shit about them, especially those in positions of power. The first responders barely got their fucking medical care covered 15 years after the fact, okay? And it's only used as a talking point. Like, if you, from the perspective of like the average American reactionary, somehow myself and Zoran Mamdani are more responsible for 9/11 than fucking than fucking the Crown Prince and the royal family is. Okay, this is just how it goes, baby. This is how it goes. 9/11 is just a talking point for these people. I mean, if you can't comprehend that, I don't know what to tell you. Hasan, there's a thief behind you. Yeah. Is it really, really cold? It took Jon Stewart raising hell for the first responders to get healthcare. Shameful. Yeah. They even had the Syrian president over last week. Yeah. I mean, Brian Mast, whose legs were literally blown up by an IED, was standing next to Jolani, the guy who was, you know, responsible for the IEDs.